Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the UK or abroad. Welcome back to the Byzantian Brewscast
Welcome back.
with your hosts, Kaori Jexag and
And Byzantian F. So I forgot.
hello.
That was weird. Where am I?
almost,
Yeah.
almost forgot your own online name. Brilliant. So to start with,
Yeah.
I was making my tea earlier and I had a very Carl Pilkington moment.
There's a little monkey fella up here.
No, not a little monkey, but something I did something I imagine Carl Pilkington would do or has done at some point in his life. So I've got some socks hanging up in the kitchen to dry off, right?
Yeah.
And I was making my tea, and it's okay. I've got to I've got to pick up the kettle, but my hand was in a sock at the time, testing to see if it was dry or not. So my brain just went, okay, I'll just put the sock over my hand. I'll wear the sock on my hand and pick up the kettle.
Okay.
Multitask, you know.
Did it help?
No, it was dry anyway. This is a really. If my neighbours walked past right now and saw me with a sock on my hand trying to pour tea, I think they'd be a bit confused.
Did your brain just go, put sock on hand? That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. My brain was like, where am I going to put this sock? I know, on my hand.
Oh, I know.
I've got a place for it right here, you know. So how have we been this week? How have we been?
It's been a busy 3 days.
Uh huh.
Had three events as many days, so it's been busy. Raised a lot of money, but busy.
Yeah. More hettying.
Yeah, that's Friday, Saturday. At
Ah,
least it was close to home, so didn't pay for travel or any of it, so that was good.
yeah. It's pretty cool.
I've been experimenting with a lot of weird AI just to really just been torturing it to see what results it will produce.
Hmm.
I've, I've started like feeding it song lyrics and just trying to see if it will skip genres at this point.
Try and create a new genre of music entirely.
I would just think some songs be really inappropriately funny in different genres.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true.
I've only got to do my got to hear Mad World if it was like not quite ska.
Hmm.
I think that song's really depressing, so I love the idea of turning it into an aggressively upbeat song.
Oh,
Or anything by Evanescence. I've tried to turn that into something upbeat. That's
yeah.
really funny.
Bring me back to life. Can't wake
Yeah,
up.
it sounds great.
You
I
try
think
and
I
like
tried that one actually.
redo
I'll
that
drop
as
that
like
and
if it was some like an 80s like dance track.
oh, that's good. That's a good one actually.
Just have the that one scene from Yakuza 0 playing in the background.
Oh, oh yeah. I turned "Bring Me to Life" into gospel. That was fun.
It kind of weirdly fits somehow.
Yeah, like "Wake Me Up" is like it's like yeah. You ever seen the Blues Brothers?
Yes, yes.
It's like the church that Rick James is preaching at.
Hmm.
So when they're saying wake me up, that he's just trying to get the crowd all fired up.
Amazing.
I'm gonna share that because they're quite funny. Um, yeah, it's a busy week.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to a really boring Monday for once.
Hey, yeah, I got a busy week ahead of me, mostly cooking related. So I'm cooking some new dishes this week. Well,
Okay,
I'm helping to cook some sort of. I don't know remember what it's exactly called, but my friend of mine basically boiled it down in layman's terms to Arabic lasagna.
okay.
So they kind of use like flatbread instead of like pasta for the various layers and different styles of cooking, but the same kind of similar kind of result. obviously
I mean,
not the same, but you know.
lasagna's, I mean, lasagna's apparently very good for Mondays as well,
Yeah, yeah.
at least on the internet.
A certain orange cat on the internet told me, and then
What
I'm trying
do
my
you think he was a
hand.
cat? Now,
Yeah,
now I'm more convinced it's some sort of eldritch horror, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now
who
Tuesday.
made
Yep.
Garfield still about? I do wonder.
I think so. I think the guy. I can't remember the guy's name. I think he still draws Garfield stuff. I think.
I hope he knows about what the internet did to Garfield.
Yeah. There's also that movie, isn't there, that recently came out? That animated movie that I don't think anybody watched.
Yeah, there is. I just hope that the guy who created Garfield knows they turned his weird comic about a depressed dude and his cat into like eldritch horror.
Yeah. The other thing I'm cooking is French onion soup. I'm gonna try that
Ooh,
Tuesday. Because I've ever since I've
okay.
seen it like on a few episodes of Kitchen Nightmares, done terribly.
Just,
I really want to make it. I was like, yeah, I want to make proper French onion soup. I'm gonna show Goran how I can cook the soup.
okay.
So I'm gonna try that and hopefully not completely
You,
fail.
you need to like synthesize an AI Gordon Ramsay to tell you doing crap.
Yeah.
Make it really authentic.
Chaotic, you fucking donut! Why'd you put the onions in whole, you stupid prick? Oh,
Yeah.
the onions are raw! Oh, you idiot
Just give it a few
sandwich!
like sound. Just give
Yeah.
it a few sound bites. It doesn't have to be remotely accurate. Just it just berates you while you cook.
I've seen better goose chefs in France! You're the worst goose
Okay,
chef I've
I'm
ever
gonna
seen!
I'm gonna patent that. It's just something you can download as an app.
Gordon
It's
Ramsay
just
roasts the fuck out of you while you cook.
yeah, so you can experience what it's like.
So what you do is you like import like a recipe or whatever, and as you're doing it, the AI will look at the various bits of the recipe and berate you at various stages of the production process.
Oh, but you can set how often you want it. It'd be like every 10 seconds, every 30 seconds. You can totally like control it. So if you
Oh,
want to experience the one like the Kitchen Nightmares experience, or Hell's
yeah.
Kitchen experience, that's how you do it.
Can't believe this shit. Uh, and then yeah,
I don't know what to say.
the rest of next week is going to be uh, I don't know, not a lot, I suppose. I think Sunday I'm going to another car show, a different car show in Stafford, so that should be interesting.
Okay,
It's
the
this.
same as the last one, like camping, or is it a bit more at market this
No,
time?
no, no. It's only in like Stafford or Stratford or whatever, so it's going to be a day
Oh, okay,
trip. So it's not nearly as bad as camping. Like I'm not. I think I've had my fill of camping for the month at least.
okay. I quite like Stafford. Nice place.
Hmm. I think it's Stafford. It might
But
be
I'm that
Stratford.
weird
I can't remember now. Hmm?
that weird that stall at the Games Expo that was selling like the £1 miniatures. They got a shop down there.
Ah. Oh yes, that place. Yeah, I still need to like poke my head around there at some
Yeah,
point.
they got a shop down Stafford, and there's the free like a really small but really nice little park in the centre of it.
Hmm.
Like an well, it's not quite at, whatever you call a zoo for birds, but they do have like a couple of like big bird cages.
Birds.
They have it's quite nice. Um, I think. Oh no, I think I've got my world record attempt this next Saturday.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, well, so I'm defending it from me. See if we can do it again.
Hmm. No one's taken it yet. I'm actually impressed.
To be fair, it is an obscure one, so I kind of get that. I just, I just want to see how long I can hold on to it.
Hmm.
They don't take. I mean, if I win it, they don't take the certificate
Exactly.
from me, so I have nothing to lose from trying.
True. It's still a bit of fun in it at the end of the day, and it's for charity, I'm assuming again, so
Oh yeah, it's the community games.
awesome.
I think Perry were making another appearance, so that'd be
Hmm.
interesting. Troy almost tripped him last time round. Didn't mean to, just,
Yeah.
these things happen. Yes, it should be, at least the early part of the week's going to be pretty quiet, which,
Hmm.
for once, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So, tabletop book club then, moving not so swiftly, but swiftly
Yeah,
enough on. What we got
okay,
this
yeah.
week?
What happened this week? Oh yes, I've been going through my ebooks because of my phone is full of ebooks
Uh
that
huh.
I definitely bought from Games Workshop and didn't download because they forgot.
Hmm.
Um, and amongst them is a really one of the Wars and Mutant Chronicles books, like
Hmm.
from the mid 90s, and they did a really cool um I guess spin-off called the Dark Earth, which I really love, which is a good read. Um, the rules are a bit arcane, to be honest, but the actual meat of it's really cool. So yeah, rather than like the main factions, it's all stuff that's set on future Earth,
Uh huh.
which has gone all post-apocalyptic and like primitive and Mad Max. So it's quite cool.
You had me at Mad Max, but please proceed.
Yes, it's like Warzone, but post-apocalyptic and based on Earth, and it's kind of weird, but like an interesting kind of weird.
Hmm.
It's got like a whole set of new factions as well, which they pretty much only did for that book. Um, they did go quite hard on it as well. Um, got like a group of weird religious zealot types that dress like it's the 18th century. Because why not? Because that's fun. Um, they have the faction that's clearly meant to be pseudo Russian. Um, got Russian with a bit of Mongol in there, thrown in just because why not? Or the Khan, they're called Rasputin. The faction's literally called Rasputin.
Hey.
They're quite fun. So they're like very like war. They're the warlike faction.
Hmm.
You know it's a war game, but they are the most warlike lot there. Then there's like there's a faction that's sort of Middle Eastern inspired, and they really go hard on it. Like this is back in the 90s, and you could write whatever the hell you wanted, and no one was there to bother you about it.
Hmm.
I kind of like respect how hard they went on it because they have like your basic units of just dudes with rifles, or sometimes it's crossbows because it's slightly primitive. But they flat out have suicide troops. That one faction,
Nice.
these Crescentia. Can't find them actually. Not sure the miniature's still about. Um, yes, Music Chronicles. So yeah, they so again they just had a really weird concept for a world, and they just went, nah, put it in.
Why not?
Just have some fun with it. I'm not sure if they ever got played much though. Um,
Um,
I kind of hope they did because it kind of like changes up a lot of the changes the game up a little bit.
did they get any like ability to rotate the ball?
No,
Rotation.
that's too OP. We gotta
Rotation.
fund the game somehow. I'm so annoyed to do that 5 times in one turn. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Hang on. No, I had two of them. In theory, I could have done that 10 times.
Rotate the planet.
That dark symmetry.
So dumb.
Do you find that is a really interesting way to not say psychic powers?
Yeah.
But I kind of like that. I do find that brand really fascinating. So I kind of get why it didn't work out in the end.
Hmm.
'Cause the balance was a bit off, but it wasn't boring.
Uh huh.
Sometimes I do like to wonder what would have happened if Games Workshop had and Warhammer had gone the way had died out like Mutant Chronicles did.
Hmm.
So everyone's complaining about the Mutant Chronicles devs instead, or like for their price gouging.
Hmm.
it's kind of like it's kind of like looking at a time capsule of what could have been. That's kind of makes it kind of interesting.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have a weird little fascination with that game. And it usually works apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't work just enough to be interesting, but you can still play it, and it's not unplayable as it turns out. Even the old stuff.
Hmm.
I just think they were competing with Games Workshop at a bad time.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, it's like a really upclass off brand, which I quite like.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
So
So if you want a good read that's
yeah.
kind of interesting, just look up the Dark Earth for Mutant Chronicles. 'Cause it's just kind of
Hmm.
out there. Like it's a lot of fun. But it's like the fourth edition books now for D&D. They're kind
Yeah.
of interesting reads because the lore's good, but the mechanics
The
are kind of
mechanics a bit okay.
terrible. Yeah, a bit weird. All right though.
Yeah. Speaking of funny things, I'm
Yeah.
carrying on. I've got the second out of three blah, 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 Beyond Cataclysm Games little mini booklets. This one is
Oh yeah.
called Cats versus Dogs, or depending on how you read it, Cats Dogs versus, because it's the, the
I kind
title.
of prefer Cats Dogs versus. They said that.
So, finally settling the argument which animal is the best. First, split into teams pro cat and pro dog, which means at least one person has to be in the cat team and one person in the dog team, I guess. So I guess you just evenly split people, right? Feel free to argue these rankings. Okay, now each team ranks animals' characteristics 1 to 6 based on important these are the nature of the animal. 1 lowest, 6 highest. Feel free to argue these rankings matter deeply, perhaps some yowling and barking, scratching and biting. So you can assign ranks to things based. So you're basing it on the nature of the animal, not like, oh, I'll just go with sixes in everything, basically. So you got like
Okay.
agility, uh, cleanliness, grudge holder, haughty bearing, precision claws, and zen calm for cats. Clumsy lump, eats anything, endless energy, forgives all, instant friendship, and slobbery lick for dogs. I think with
Oh,
this they could do with something similar to like I don't know, like how like Fallout does the special thing when you start a new character, give them like so many points they can put into their 6 attributes maybe. That's what I'd already. I'm home brewing. Like, okay, just so they can't put 6 in everything. Give it like I don't know. You have like 30 points to spend or whatever. So, in cats versus
is there
dogs
like a goofy? Is there a goofy stat um
for
just
dogs,
like there's a derp stat for dogs or something? So that'd
no,
be
no, there should be one. I think. So, in cats versus dogs, you'll be ranking the skills and characteristics of cats and dogs, and then pitting them against one another in advance of determination, aptitude, and luck. The game requires 2d6 dice and a fervent desire to be right. Second, roll for event. So there are 6 different events with a bunch of little, I guess, challenges in each event. So you've got open heart surgery,
right.
diagnosis, breaking bad news, prepping for surgery, first incision, heart transplant, rehab. It's like the triathlon of doctoring, but with cats and or dogs. The second one is winning an
Study is a
election,
study.
which so second
Yeah.
second event is winning an election, which is very apt at the moment. Choosing a leader, party manifesto, door-to-door canvassing, media savvy, election day and victory party. I'm just imagining. See, I think like cats just wins this by default in the UK. If you've seen the stuff coming out of election at the moment with is it Larry the cat? The
Yeah.
number ten's cat. There isn't a number
To be
10.
fair, how many votes did Larry get?
There isn't a number 10 dog, but there is a number 10 cat. So I think that speaks
To
volumes.
be, to be fair, I think that's how Tories win. They don't have a human being actually in the runnings. They just have Larry the cat. Sort of
Everybody
thing.
just votes for Larry the cat. Genius.
What's he gonna do? He's a cat. Yeah, that actually might win them of something.
Yeah. The third possible event is very oddly specific 1980 Moscow Summer Olympics. I don't know why specifically that Olympics, but that Olympics.
What happened to that year? What did I miss?
What happened in the 1980s for the Moscow Summer Olympics to be so important? You got your classic 100-meter sprint, shot put, swimming and diving, archery, pole vault, and weightlifting. So, but
Okay.
again, event number 4 is a state agent. Curing fake tan is the first challenge.
Okay. Makes
Choosing
sense.
garish outfit. Yeah, that tracks. Billboard photo. Breaking into a house. Deflecting questions about subsidence. Spending commission check. Uh, number
Are we
5
worried about
is
what cats are planning?
yeah. Number 5 is SpaceX test pilot because we all know SpaceX is very successful. Not
Elon
hanging.
Musk would send a cat to
Yeah,
space, though.
hanging rocket post on teenage bedroom wall. Good grades in college, flight school, takeoff, in-flight control, walking on the moon. This is like the opposite of the winning election because we all know like Doge is a thing. And I feel like if anyone was going to send a Shiba Inu into space, it would probably be Elon Musk.
Actually, that tracks. Yeah.
And the last one is opening a restaurant.
Shall we be worried about what cats are planning?
Always.
And big. Yeah.
So, third part is the head-to-head competition. So you run through the event stage by stage. For each stage, set a target number by rolling 2d6. Interesting. Each animal team selects a characteristic to handle that stage, rolls 2d6 and discards the lowest result, adds the rank of the characteristic, does the total match will beat the target number, records a success or failure, and the difference which will be used for tie-breaking.
Okay.
So that's an interesting sort of thing. And then 4, argue about why this game is stupid. I love how that's part of the game itself. Argue about why this
That's
game is
part of the game.
stupid. Whichever animal won the most events is the winner. It's science. If there's a tie, add up all the different scores and compare those. Still a tie, the animals will need to compete in another event. That's really funny. I think it could do with a little tiny bit of work for balancing, like giving them a certain amount of points to spend across their 6 attributes. However, I think this is a very funny exercise. Again, similar to the other one we've mentioned, bar fight, definitely good as a little appetizer before you get into a main game. So maybe you play it when you're missing one person for your D&D game or something, and you're waiting on them. Well, that's funny. Cats versus dogs.
I do think
Not
that
to be
I do
confused
think
with
the
a
game would be a
movie.
little bit. Yeah. It was a weird movie. I saw the first one for some reason.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
sequel, which is even weirder.
there was. I do think that it would be a little unbalanced in the UK though, because we there tend to be a lot more dog people than cat people.
Yeah, and I feel like in the
So that
UK we're
yeah.
not quite so polarized anyway towards cats.
No, we don't. Yeah, that's a good point.
Even people
Because
who are
there's
like,
quite a lot of cat people as
yeah,
well.
even the people who are like cat people aren't like vehemently cat people. Most of them would say they also like dogs. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe it's because like the bulldog is like among one of the UK's national animals or something.
The Americans have to get their own, of course.
I wonder what like does like the US have a national dog breed? I wonder.
I do. That's a good point. I know we've got at least one. The China technically made the pugger thing, amongst others,
Brilliant. Rare China W.
because the emperors wanted something cute on their laps so they could look all regal.
That makes sense to me.
So they put their pugs. I know that Africa's got a few dogs native to it.
Hmm.
I suppose we're counting if you're counting the American bulldog, and because there are a few American only breeds of like staffies as well. I should look at national dogs. Apparently, I never thought
Yeah.
about this until this very moment.
Tune in to the
Um,
next stream where we exclusively talk
I'm
about
going to now.
national dog breeds for like half an episode. Um, so a critical fumble then. Do we have an critical fumble this week?
All that we do. It's going to come back to me in about 10 seconds. Don't time that. Um, yeah, I think yeah, I do. I do actually have one. Um, there's been it's D&D based again because people are complaining again about marshals and casters again.
Oh no.
For some reason, they still haven't fixed that.
Uh huh.
Well, they made a token effort, but it seems to be like either don't care or don't try. You know,
Yeah.
that's been the running gag for like since fifth edition was a thing.
Hmm.
It just seems really weird that they're doing half an effort now, and then people are still like having the argument. It's like, come on.
Mm.
Look, either care about spellcasters being really powerful late game compared to martial classes, or don't bother because it's getting a bit silly.
Mm.
Especially when I'm honestly, I don't know what they're gonna do with D&D, um, because they've released the new player handbook, but they're not releasing like the new DM's guide or anything until next year.
Hang on,
So
hang
I'm not
on,
sure.
hang on, hang on. So
Yeah,
what you mean to tell me they made a new player handbook but not a new DM's guide or monster
yeah,
manual? What?
yeah,
You're supposed to release those at the same time.
yeah. You'd think so, and so would I. But for some reason, they decided not the release schedule's weird. That and I don't feel they're committing to the new edition.
Yeah, from what
Like
I've
at this
heard,
point,
it's like supposed to be like compatible with fifth edition. A lot of the new stuff, which is really weird.
I mean, not,
It's like, why
I
not
mean,
just
at this
not do
point,
a new edition at this point? Surely at this point it'd be better for you to
yeah,
not make a new edition and just stick with 5e.
or just say sod it, new edition time,
Yeah,
and just do it all at once.
just rip the band-aid
Yeah,
off if you're gonna do it. Yeah.
they're perfectly half doing everything right now. That's kind of
I don't get it. It's
yeah.
like they're
I don't know what.
I love that they're like making this really staggered release of magic books. Meanwhile, there's a new Magic the Gathering set like every fucking month. Like, how is one thing full steam ahead, throw content at people, throw product at people all the time on one end, and then the other end, oh, we'll get to it eventually on the other product. I don't get it. Wizards, what is your modus operandi with product fucking management?
Yeah, the release schedule's just very peculiar. I'm not sure what they think they're doing. Um,
I am very
yeah,
confused.
that also, honestly, I mean, like when I think about it, all the original hype from like Critical Role, that's sort of gone as well
Hmm.
at this point. So I think the number of people that are going to buy every book is not really going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
It's not the same way. So they're banking on a lot of people buying the new player's handbook and just kind of sitting on it for 8 months for some reason.
Yeah.
Not sure what they're thinking they're going to do with that, but
It's here's a book you can't use for 12 to 18 months.
you sort of can, but not really.
Yeah. It's like saying, here's your
Yeah,
starter course. You got to wait 3 months for your main course. Hey,
we haven't finished the follow up yet. Come back in a few
it's
months.
still in the oven. Please
It's,
don't put books in
yeah,
ovens, by the way,
I'm not
chat.
sure. Yeah, yeah. S- whoever's deciding these release dates probably needs to get sacked.
Yeah.
That definitely counts as a fumble, I think.
I So I don't actually have a critical fumble for this week in particular, but I guess I sort of do, but it's got nothing to do with tabletop games, which is weird.
We've done that before. What's
So
happened?
anyone who knows me knows that I also do diecast stuff and car things on my dad's channel, right? So
Yeah.
there is a YouTube group called Roadkill, right? That do car customization and things like that, rat rods and things like that. Hot Wheels have in the past decided, you know what, we'll do a collaboration thing with them. But the previous ones have always
I mean,
been you have to subscribe to Motor Trend, the YouTube channel, for like 12 months and you get this as a freebie. However, one of them
yeah.
has started appearing in toy shops, and the only thing I can think of is did Mattel print this thing so much, thinking people were going to subscribe or to this, or subscribe with money to this YouTube channel and just overproduce this thing, thinking, yeah, this will get let's get loads of money out of it. And now they're like, oh shit, we got to scuttle this and cut our losses and sell it to. That's my thought of like, did they fumble the bag? Because they've done that before and just overproduce something to shit.
Sounded like Disney banking on their new characters to sell toys, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it was like loads of Rays and
Mm,
Kylo Ren's just hanging about Walmarts.
yeah. And like, I don't think a lot of people really that interested in stuff like Wish either, right? That other movie.
Oh, were the banking on Wish? Didn't that kind of flop softly?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And there's that weird movie in space or something that wasn't Lightyear. It was like
what?
some
What?
I don't remember what
Well,
it.
like, yeah, just whatever everybody wanted like the prequel, where you just about Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. Yeah. Disney lately has been like, let's make this thing and then produce a shitload of merchandise for it, expecting it to do like absolute gangbusters at the box office, and kids will buy the fuck out the merch. And the
Let's
kids do
let's
not buy the
let's
fuck out the
let's
merch.
let's solve a mystery in the plot that nobody ever wanted an answer to.
Yeah, it's just. I think what the problem with Disney at the moment is they're expecting every single movie to be Frozen in terms of popularity and merch opportunities,
Yeah,
and it's just not
it's going to
happening.
be a long time before they get one of those.
Yeah. It's like, we really want to like strike the hot iron that was Frozen again. So we'll like produce shitloads of the merchandise just in case that happens.
Yeah.
And like for eight solid movies now in a row, it hasn't happened.
Well, don't forget the spin-off series.
Yeah,
Got to
and the
do one of
spin-off
those.
series. Didn't they do something like the Ahsoka TV show lightsaber or something, and nobody cared?
I don't know, but that sounds like something they'd do because Disney is honestly built on merchandising first, so that
Yeah,
kind of makes
but
sense
it's
to me.
weird. It's like, okay, the movies don't have to do fantastic, admittedly, for the merchandise to sell
Yeah.
like hotcakes, but they do have to at least be semi-competent at sales of the actual licensed, the actual product itself for the merchandise of that product to sell well. Hmm.
Yeah, that's yeah. They sort of lost the touch there, I think. Well, that is something that I do always find slightly annoying. Even when I watch like some of the Disney films that I think are still quite good,
Hmm.
there's always that one, at least one character that's clearly meant to generate merch.
Yeah.
It's really obvious in newer ones, but in older films they still sort of did that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of
I
things
guess
like
stuff like
Kid Simba, for instance, I guess.
Mushu,
Yeah.
Mushu, great example. Like the funny marketable character that's people that kids are meant to like.
Yeah. Although I still like Mushu, to be honest. Maybe that's because I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, but Mushu is just
No,
fucking funny.
honestly, he's not that bad, but he's
Yeah.
definitely meant to be a merchandise character more than a lot of them. It's like the cute animal companion thing. You see a
It
lot of that
it
in like
probably helps that
Wish had that
Mushu
weird
is
star thing.
voiced by Eddie Murphy. That probably helps.
Yep, a pre-controversy Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, pre-controversy Eddie Murphy, yeah.
have you ever seen like Coming to America, one of his early films?
Yeah.
They're one of his funniest films, I think. I love that movie. Right, anyway, what's we got? Because I can talk about movies Eddie Murphy all day.
So yeah, so that's critical fumble. We kind of went on a bit of a tangent, but a tangent that kind of worked, to be honest. Merchandising be like. So we were going to do a skirmish report, but I need to talk to Titan Forge Games again because it
Well,
turns out
wait, you,
not
like, you
only
say
was
you
the
don't have a critical
miniature,
fumble.
well, not only was the yeah, I should have talked about that on Critical Fumble. So not only was the miniature not correct because one of the miniatures was a duplicate, it was supposed to come with counters and character cards, and it didn't. So I'm gonna have to like, can you send the stuff, please, so I can play the game? So we won't be doing a skirmish report,
Doesn't
but
have
we
rules in
have
it.
got in replacement another homebrew of the week. Just have a bonus homebrew of the
Absolutely.
week.
Yes. Shall I start, or are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I've got technically 4 items this week. They're all small, but it's technically 4 items with a
Oh,
very similar theme. So I've named this document politically charged scrolls. Well, because while I'm not getting into
okay.
politics on this podcast, there
Not
has
real world
recently been a
politics.
general election in the UK, and so I was kind of inspired
Yeah.
by the shitstorm that followed it, and the work of I don't know if you know the comic comedian Jonathan Pye.
Oh, Jonathan Pye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very funny guy, very funny guy. So I decided to throw my hat in the proverbial "I'm sick of this shit, I'm going to take the piss out of it" ring, with a series of scrolls that are based on several different things, political related things. So first of all, we have the Scroll of Bureaucracy, which is a wondrous item
Hey.
scroll uncommon. So this scroll can be used to cast any spell of 5th level or lower, even by a non-caster. However, there is a catch. Of course there is. Each allied creature
Yes.
within 500 feet, including yourself, the attempting user nominates a spell. Any spell within the limit. A vote is then called. The spell with the most votes is then cast. So you might not necessarily get to cast the spell you want. You have to ask the rest of the crew to nominate a spell. They have to be different. And then everyone
What
votes.
if one of the people suggesting a spell comes from a smaller settlement or place than the other one?
Well, here's where the
Is it
second bit comes
unfortunate
in.
or
A creature that
or
has the
no?
charlatan background may gerrymander the allied creatures into seats to alter the result of the vote.
So dumb.
Next up, we have the Scroll of Socialism, also an uncommon scroll. This scroll can be
Right.
used to cast any spell of 2nd level or lower, even by a non-caster. However, when cast, each creature within 1 mile of the caster gets the benefit of this scroll for one-time use within 10 minutes, even if not a caster or would otherwise be unable to cast the spell. That includes animals and things like that. So, it also includes your enemies. Because socialism, all about equality, even for the people that hate you.
Oh no.
So there's a risk. It's like, yeah, I can give me and the party a 2nd level spell, but everyone else also gets one, including a random fucking beast somewhere down the road.
Okay.
The next one, Scroll of Authoritarianism. This is a rare scroll.
Brilliant.
This scroll can be used to cast
Right.
any spell of 4th level or lower, even by a non-caster. When they do, it also creates a unique magic dampening zone 1 mile around the caster for 24 hours. In said zone, the spell cast by the user... the spell cast by the user is automatically... the spell cast by the user is automatically countered if cast by anyone but the creator of this zone, including allies. So if you, in a pinch, use it to cast a healing spell, you fucked up, because now that healing spell cannot be cast for 24 hours in that range.
Oh.
So if anyone else wants to cast, I don't know, healing word, they fucking can't. And as a DM, I would say you don't tell anyone about the zone. I would keep that as a secret unless, they properly identified the scroll.
Okay.
And then finally, the Scroll of Populism, which is my favourite of these. So it's a mythic, so it's the most powerful of all these scrolls, theoretically. In addition to the scroll, a user must pay 100 gold as a material cost and pledge to help the poorest in need. Deception check. For each creature fooled by this lie, the caster may cast one spell of 7th level or lower for free within 7 days of activating the scroll. In addition, any number of targets chosen by the user with a net worth of at least 250 gold may also gain this benefit. A creature casting this spell as a result of this effect for self-serving or nefarious purposes immediately has their alignment magically changed to lawful evil. This effect can only be removed with a wish spell.
Okay. It's a very condition. A lot of how conditional these all are.
Well, you know what? That's politics. Conditional as all fuck. And
Yeah, like a majority vote of 35%.
yeah. I love politics. I love this system that we currently have. But I thought,
Definitely
funny,
works.
effective. Each one has an upside and a
Oh,
downside. Rather than just giving, you get a scroll for this specific spell that you might never fucking use.
it, the scroll of gotcha. You get out a little machine.
It
Oh, it's
randomly
true strike.
rolls a
Damn it.
scroll. Ah,
Oh, damn! I got it's got true strike.
brilliant. But yeah, that's my homebrew of the week. What you got?
I, I was, I went a very different route. Um, I didn't make a beast this time. I went down, because I haven't yet to watch the whole thing through, but I really liked, when the game Blasphemous, and it
Mm.
got a really good sequel. So I'm watching a playthrough with that, and I was a little inspired by the weird dark fantasy slash very obvious Christian references,
Ah,
but more like Inquisition style Christianity.
yeah.
It's like a weird brand of Christianity. Everything's all penitence and guilt and stuff. So I made a weird monster based off that.
Flatulence.
Um,
Not to be confused with
yeah,
flatulence.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, so I came up with I did it. Did give it a nice Latin name because that fit.
Mm.
Um, I think Lucy translates to like penitent cowards because the whole idea was this would be for like some like Dark Sun style setting
Mm.
where some sort of miracle or prayer caused everything to get weird in the first place.
Ah.
So it sort of made everyone kind of it made everyone really weird and fanatical and insane.
Mm.
So cult central, but there's like thousands of cults, so it's got to be specific. But this the entirety of that these they look kind of mostly humanoid,
Yeah.
but they have like a weird crow mask sort of. It looks like a mask. But it's just part of their face.
Right.
That's like a symbolic thing because they are these people are either they were cowards or deserters or just people that turned their back or broke promises. That's why they're all like pro like now because that's weirdly like is seen as like a sign of cowardice or treachery.
Mm-hmm.
Um, also I mean because they're weird zealots, they're kind of nuts, but they're nuts in such a way that they don't really wear armor because other than a shield because because part of them has the whole that whole weird fanatical guilt thing going on.
Uh huh.
So part of them actually wants to die.
That
So they
makes
don't, you
yeah.
know, they don't want anything that would actually keep them alive too long. Um, there's a rule for that. Yeah. Yeah. So the rule for that is they have is if they are able to charge something, they have to. So
Interesting.
it's the nearest thing first as well, because they're just so driven to be penitent and die for what, and die and find redemption. They will attack anything at all, if it's hostile. Even if, no matter how dangerous it is,
Hmm.
they're also completely fearless as a result of it. But they're weird fanatics that literally want to die, um, but not without a fight first.
Yeah.
So start raving mad. So I gave them an armored defense as well, sort of.
The irony.
So like, so part of yeah, as a part there, as part of the cruelty is that they're actually kind of naturally tough. So like the whole dwarf slayer logic of I want to die, but only against something that's actually capable of killing me.
Hmm.
Um, I came up with like a new goddess for this as well. Let's have a look. But let's go to the scripture again for them. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. So they are like really low ranking cultists. Um, they're part of a cult dedicated to a goddess of truth and honesty. But even their own cult sees them as so inherently worthless that they literally guard the outskirts of all the holy places.
Ah.
So they are the lowest of the low, and even like not just thematically, they're literally hated by their own faction. But
Hmm.
they're just useful. They're useful mooks, but they're not given any station above that.
Hmm.
Also feeds into why they hate themselves and want to die. So kind of it's slightly unhinged, but it fit what I was watching at the time, and I kind of like for dark fantasy. Sometimes they need something a little bit unhinged once in a while.
Yes.
So I went down a bit of a rabbit hole with that. Um, there's equipment they when just a bit of variety. They have like um a slightly reflavored longsword as a falcat, which is a type of sword because I like more specific weapons,
Hmm.
or pole arms, especially a bit like a pole axe rather than a spear.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of tactical variety, but they were designed to be dark fantasy mooks with a really weird origin. I just sort of wrote it while I was sort of in the mood and inspired, and
Hmm.
it sort of came out. So I
Sometimes
actually
you
quite
do your
like them
best
for
work when
given
you're
like it
like
was
that,
like an
didn't you?
afterthought. Oh yeah, I was I was just thinking Christian guilt, and it sort of just came out, and it was quite interesting. I quite liked it actually. To be fair,
Hmm.
every now and again, I get a desire to write something post-apocalyptic. Can't really put a finger on why.
Hmm.
Maybe I just want to see the world burn subconsciously. Just didn't think about it.
Some writers just want to watch the world burn, Mr. Wayne.
I just want a ruby the size of a child. But yes,
I want a homebrew the size of a tangerine. Uh,
I used to. My friends at college used to just mess up that scene on purpose just for fun because that wasn't that old a film at the time. It's quite fun.
I once saw a ruby the size of a ruby. What?
That one's unbelievable.
Okay, so moving swiftly
Maybe
on.
it trip you up.
Explorers Guild, our usual spot on locations and locales, planes of existence, pubs, etc. From third party
Okay.
work, first party work, or otherwise. What we got?
Oh, I've got one that I've right. So I kind of want to go a little uh off format here and just go with something from a video game, which I think is a really interesting setting.
Nice.
Um, so I'm it's a game that's old enough now that I don't think many people might, quote unquote, the kids might not know about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, the Legacy of Kain, the Soul Reaver games from Legacy of Kain have a really, really like good dark fantasy setting.
Hmm.
So it does a lot of like based on a lot of like the old fantasy tropes quite well. So the basic idea is there's a fairly typical. There's a bit of darkness seeping in, but it's quite a fairly typical fantasy world.
Yeah.
You know, nobles and peasants and a few. There's not a lot of magic because it's fairly low magic, but there's flat magic in this that people just know of enough.
Hmm.
Um, Main character Kane is supposed to be like some sort of prophesized hero, um, but he's so in ways that are really weird and complicated to explain. He's born slightly wrong and deemed not worthy of doing what he's meant to do.
Uh-huh.
So long story short, the whole Kane is killed before the first game begins, turned into a vampire, and the whole story of thing happens off the end of the bad ending of the first game, where Kane decides that yeah he could sacrifice himself um, and save the world, but based on the ending where he decides not to because Kane's still a noble and he's very, very, very arrogant.
Hmm.
But the setting gets really fun because of it, because Kane ends up being this vampiric dictator, with resurrected the corpses of like he found the tombs of like this order of priests that were really good at killing vampires because he's I guess a fan of irony.
Yeah.
Resurrected the most powerful ones as the vampires, and then sort of used them as like his officers right under him. And after thousands of years of that, um, like the literal pillars keeping the realm from rotting away into entropy, they're falling apart. There's only one city left on the setting where humans even live,
Hmm.
and naturally they're not. They all they're naturally vampires are the number one enemy of the day. But Kane sort of lost the plot a bit,
Uh-huh.
and all the clans are sort of largely independent at this point.
Interesting.
Really good example of a setting where nothing's really going right, but it's not hopeless or boring.
It's just kind of
And there's still weirdo.
carrying
Oh
on.
yeah, there's still weirdo magical elements left over from the other games as well. Like there's one of there's a in Fantasy had like a weird council of like powerful magical beings. There's still like weird remnants of like one of the um one of the spellcasters whose entire thing was weird experimentation.
Yeah.
Some of his creations are still knocking about a bit, but um, like most of the setting, it's sort of just been left to rot and do its own thing.
Hmm.
It's just got this weird, dark, dramatic Shakespearean vibe to it because the dialogue is very overdramatic, but rather than being cringeworthy, it's delivered in like this really Shakespearean way, so it kind of works.
Hmm.
Um, it's just one of my favorite just fictional settings, just in general, because it's got vampires, which are cool, but not your traditional vampires. It's got like each clan's got its own thing going on.
Yeah.
It's rather than treat them as like fully human, but after thousands of years, they've actually mutated into whatever the clans are now.
Hmm.
Um, so the vampires from different things, they do have like a theme to them a little bit. They don't look very, you know, noble or really humanoid. They don't even bother with clothes anymore because a lot of them just devolved into being weird, almost animals. Because why be civilized when there's no law and order?
Makes sense.
Um, yeah, there's some have become more spider-like
Nice.
because their patriarch did. My favorite ones, some of them have become more like corpses because he was the last one to be resurrected and is generally the weakest of all the vampires.
Hmm.
At least the patriarch ones anyway.
Hmm.
My favorite ones though, there's weird aquatic vampires that they can actually survive water. It's not a problem for
That's
them.
scuba vampires.
Yeah, they're kind of cool looking. The problem is that they're even weaker to sunlight. Even like the sunlight there, which normal vampires can just walk about in, it is too much for them.
Hmm.
It just takes vampires and does really weird stuff to them. I think the franchise it's a really fun franchise for that, but it's one of those that had a good run in the '90s during the Tomb Raider era.
Yeah.
Then it was part of IDOS. So when Tomb Raider went under, Soul Reaver went through a few changes of publisher and developer. The whole thing sort of got lost, ironically lost to time, which is fun for a series based on time travel. Um, it's a really cool setting that I'd love to see revisited because it's been long enough now that if you did a even a physical remaster of the game, it would look kind of fantastic.
Hmm.
As the settings go, it's kind of hard to beat because it's got your big prophetic stuff, big ancient prophecy. It's got a few good plot twists. It's got a chosen hero that's obviously gone terribly wrong along the way,
Hmm.
and lots of weird dark magic stuff that just different enough from a lot of stuff that was popular at the time that still kind of sticks out now.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's Nosgoth. I recommend looking at any of the Legacy of Kain games below, but Soul Reaver 1 and 2 are particularly interesting because that's the stuff set in the far future where things have gone beyond to hell and back.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up next?
So the setting that I've gone for Explorers Guild, I don't know what the name of the actual place is called, but I don't know if we mentioned it on the channel before. Do you remember Medieval and by extension Medieval 2?
Oh yes, yeah,
I think comedic aspects aside, a grim dark kind of setting where undead aren't necessarily the always the bad guys, I think is very fascinating.
yeah. I can kind of see it. Um, I do remember the opening of that game was very funny.
Yeah.
You're playing as this great, supposedly great hero.
Sir
The
William
first cutscene
Fortescue.
is yeah, you see him in some great battle, run to charge at the enemy and get an arrow to the eye and die.
Bollocks.
The sequel, wait, the sequel got a bit weird though because there was a weird Egyptian character, like sort of like a not quite um Nefertiti in there, wasn't it? I think it was a name actually, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Rightly. I don't know much about the setting though because the game was leaning very heavily on the comedy.
Yes. I don't think it goes into too great detail in the setting, but the vibe that I get is kind of the world that flips the classic hero story on its head and subverts it in a few different ways, where like what you would imagine to be the big bad evil guy or common mook is the hero, and what you would imagine to I think like I can't remember the villain of the story, but they feel like the sort of person that wouldn't necessarily be. I mean, they've got the typical dark sorcerer thing going on, to be fair, but they also don't feel very. They are they are bad and evil. They don't because they're more funny than anything else. You know, you feel like no, you don't really have a traditional big bad evil guy in the same sense, so to speak.
Isn't the whole point of the first game is um you're trying to become the hero that history says you were
Yes,
when you absolutely actually weren't.
yes. Gallowmere, that's the name of the place. Gallowmere.
It's a good name.
Out. Thanks for the follow. Who is it? Thank you for. Oh, wait. Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Mythologica. Thank you. Ow, my ears. Sorry, I just got metal pipe noised.
Oh, did you have a button for that?
It's whenever someone follows.
Oh, okay. Uh, I should indicate something like that. Um, To be fair, what something I do find would like to see more of is any sort of setting
Hmm.
where a villain with like the ambition of like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, but he actually succeeded.
Yeah.
That would be kind of
Yeah.
horrifying because
So
those like plans from like animated shows are always like world ending, but they're
yeah.
just idiots.
So here's the thing as well. So Zarok's story in his background actually starts off like a typical hero's story. So he was a small, but smart but scrawny boy who came from a poor family. His childhood days were spent with his
Right?
dog, Mr. Snuffy. On the day of the king's
Oh,
coronation, Mr. Snuffy was killed by a royal guardsman who thought the pup was going to attack the newly crowned king. So it kind of starts off as like, oh, as a kind of a counterculture rebellious hero story, which is really
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
But then he just goes, "Fuck it,
Huh.
I'm gonna become obsessed with necromancy." Yeah, so he returned to Galamir, causing the land's crops to fail in order to expose the incompetency of Peregrine's Count Magician Mazok the Muddled. And then Zarek became the court magician and he sort of took over the kingdom. So it kind of starts out as like a hero rising story, but then he just goes, you know what, fuck these people, actually. Fuck them. Which, to be fair,
They did kill his dog,
yeah, they did kill his dog, which is,
which
as
was
we know
called
from John
Snuffles.
Wick, never kill someone's dog. But I have the feeling like it would be interesting to see like a flipped on its head world backwards kind of universe where undead and things like that are actually the good guys, and things like the holy men, the church, and paladins are actually the bad guys. In that sort of sense.
Sounds like Dark Souls, but everyone's undead.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Sort of this weird sort of flip the whole concept of good and evil on its head, so to speak. Really sort of bring out the underdogness of undead and and things like that, and the rebelliousness of demons rather than their sort of other things, and raise up the genocidal, authoritarian nature of the holy people. Maybe make all dwarves extra obsessed with money and wealth and things like that. Make
Yeah.
mankind really full of hubris and technology gone wrong kind of thing.
Yeah, I think on it. Why is it not? I suppose they've given up Morkborg, but there could be more games that focus on you playing as undead.
Hmm.
They've also got a really interesting mechanic. Could be you can't heal
Hmm.
because your muscles don't. You wouldn't you have to regenerate from injury, would you? If you get
No.
hurt, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
They
Plus,
could
it
have it
kind
be
of ties
all
into
OSR.
the bleakness of the world too.
Well, it's also OSR. That's the difficulty there. If you get an injury, it actually matters.
Yeah.
So I think there could be a market for because Morkborg is a game where famously death is inevitable.
Hmm.
You will die in that game.
Yeah.
There's a weird market for stuff like that, and generally, undeath makes Dark Fantasy kind of tick.
Hmm.
Or alternatively, fates that are so bad people wish they were dead and they're just not.
Yeah. What's the I have no mouth and I must scream kind of universe?
Oh yeah, that's probably that's a really weird one.
Yeah.
And I've seen the game and I've heard the audiobook from the author himself. Um,
Hmm.
it's it's a good story, but it's a really weird story. I would recommend it though if you like sci-fi in general. Um, yeah. Long story short of that, um, it's properly like a world scenario.
Hmm.
I think it was written in the '60s as well. So it was a story about so basically an AI called Am, as in I think therefore I am,
Yeah.
but basically took over Earth. But because the AI is effectively a megalomaniac, he decided to keep 5 people alive
Yeah.
just so he could torture them over and over again. The story makes no bones about it that they have died several times, but Am just keeps bringing them back.
Hmm.
I think he just hates what mankind did to it, so it's never forget, never really been able to. Weirdly, he doesn't want them all to die because there's nothing else for him to do because every other human is dead.
Hmm.
So it's genuinely a story without hope, but it's also not boring because of that, because it goes so far down the other way of let me tell you exactly how hopeless everything is. It really enjoys that. It's a proper sadistic story.
Hmm.
The endings, as you poked out, are being very famous because the main character ends up as something much less than human, able to die, just sort of existing.
Hmm.
It's yeah, probably that's one of the bleakest things I've ever read. But again, I don't. Sometimes a bit of bleak goes a long way.
Hmm.
Although there is some of it that I'm not sure would tick well with some modern audiences. It does have some because it does have some views from the '60s that don't translate well today. But that's
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
period thing we'll do. And it was a good story regardless, but
Hmm.
just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. So our last thing today is ruling time machine. So looking back at older editions of tabletops versus their modern versions, what can we fix with something? What was fixed and they what was not broken and they broke it basically, or not broken and they got rid of it entirely.
Okay, I do actually, I do kind of have one
Mm-hmm.
that I do have one that I think kind of should be changed.
Yeah.
Um, right, so done a few times, but grappling in D&D is kind of weird.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, like it's not used much, but if you want to be really mean about it, you can completely just break the game with grappling.
Uh huh.
Just manhandle people. Um,
You will be
the
tossed.
worst use or or just held is the most annoying one.
Yeah.
So, um, in this happened in a really recent D&D game where so long story short, we were fighting one of Brett's boss monsters, which are absolutely nice and punishing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so what ended up happening is there's a druid in the party. Naturally, they like using Moonbeam because Moonbeam's good. And what happened is they got stunned. And when they were stunned, they couldn't control or turn off Moonbeam, which wouldn't be a problem unless the monster decided to grapple them, pick them up, and put them inside their own Moonbeam.
Wait, does that work? Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I need to
Yep.
Google the ruling on this. Hang on a minute. Not that I'm rules long right now. Wait a minute. A
It's all right.
creature.
It's my turn to do it.
Any. Wait a minute. A creature. Oh. Oh. It doesn't specify allies or non-allies. That is interesting.
Yeah. So
Imagine
they were
getting
put inside their own Moonbeam, and yeah,
getting
they kept
fried by
they
their
kept
own
passing the
fucking
save as well.
moonbeam.
But they kept passing the save, so it didn't go away. They never broke concentration of like 2 turns.
The indignance of like, no, I'm keeping this moonbeam up and you're gonna burn with me.
Well, no, that they could have had the option to turn it off
They just
if they weren't stunned.
oh, if they weren't stunned. That's
Yeah, they
brilliant.
kept passing the concentration. They kept passing concentration saves, so they didn't drop the spell. That's something I'd find really questionable in
Yeah.
hindsight.
Oh yeah, you can't. Yeah, there's actually like not necessarily a hidden ruling, but yeah, you can't willingly fail a saving throw.
even if you are being put into your own moonbeam or
That is
burning
very
sphere or
much
something.
plays the Seinfeld kind of theme level moment.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Also, same encounter. Brett's figured out a really evil way to use just legendary action move.
Hmm.
So you know how moonbeam, or is it implies that if you begin or end your if you begin your turn
Uh huh.
or are in the range of moonbeam when it's first cast.
Hmm.
So legendary actions can be used out of turn order.
Yes.
So if let's say moonbeam's already out
Yeah.
and it's on top of a target. If a target has the legendary action, it can just move with it.
Yeah.
It can move while it's already inside the moonbeam. And if it moves out of the range of the moonbeam, it technically doesn't trigger any damage.
Yep. Because it's not
Not the start of the
taking a
turn.
legendary action is a reaction. Well, technically a type of reaction, which means it isn't a turn,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
doesn't. So even if they were to enter the moonbeam or walk through it, they also wouldn't take damage. 'Cause it says enter the spell area for the first time on a turn. They would just go lol
Yep. So
stupid.
yeah, you can effectively if you have that to do it that creature can theoretically just never take moonbeam damage after the first turn it's used.
That's
To
horrific.
move out of moonbeam.
Yeah. So I guess the answer is you move the moonbeam through them. Because you can move the moonbeam, so you move the moonbeam onto them and they would take the damage because it would then be entering
Yes.
on a turn, which aka the caster's turn. But still, it's like
Yep.
they're getting out of so much damage that way.
Yep. So that's really simple. Um,
That is body.
yeah, that's a ruling I never thought of. And
Yeah.
of course, it Brett to figure that out as well because he's not a rules lawyer. He really knows how to make rules work in his favor.
Mm.
Also, his last character used Moonbeam for so much stuff as well.
Yeah, I remember
He would
using
know how
Moonbeam
that
a lot when
works.
I first played Druid because it's just oh boy, funny. Because it's one of those first sort of spells that you start using as sort of an intermediate play, and you're like, hang on a minute, this spell has more utility than just put it in a place and do things. Because you then sort of think, okay, I can push things into the zone, for example,
Yeah.
or I can use it to protect a choke point. It's that first kind of baby's
Yep.
first tactical spell, so to speak.
It does a lot of damage too. That always
Yeah, that's
helps.
also true. Yeah.
It can move. Yeah, that was the jammiest things I've seen in the D&D in a very long time.
Yeah.
Um,
So the ruling I've got this week, I've been looking a little bit at fourth edition. Surprisingly,
yes,
did we cover minions at all?
we might have mentioned it once or twice. I don't think we've gone in detail though.
Yeah. So I think the idea of like a minion, which is like a weaker version of a monster, or a monster that's like equivalent in stats and things to something else in the monster manual, but with one health, I think is really interesting for boss encounters. So because sometimes you have a case of you have mod mooks or ads and things like in your boss encounter that kind of stick around for too long, and it's
Yeah,
kind of nice to have them there as a nuisance rather than the idea of having a monster that's a nuisance rather than an absolute obstacle to make the
I can
encounter
kind of see that.
to make it more difficult without making it too difficult. Plus, the idea of just having a swarm of
I,
goblins headed by like a plate armor hobgoblin will never not be funny.
I found another surprising one for that. Um, so turns out, no, I'm going to find a stat block for this because it's like turns out centipedes are really mean as like low level threats.
Uh huh. Centipedes?
I never really thought about using them because they're kind of mundane. So they have 4 hit points and like a really low AC, but they can deal poison damage.
Hmm.
Um, So they only deal like it's. Let me check this. It's either 1d6 or 1d4 damage. But if you fail the con save, it's 3d6 poison damage.
Oof.
Oh, giant centipede. Here we go. Oh my good. Right. Okay. Yeah. So 13 AC, 4 hit points. It's got a climb speed.
Mhm.
Plus 4 to hit. Only 1d4 plus 2 piercing damage. But if they fail, I think it's a DC 11. If you fail the con save, you take 3d6 poison damage.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And you probably that's the stuff you encounter at low level as well. So that
Mm.
will knock people unconscious. The only saving grace of it is that anything reduced to 0 hit points with it is paralyzed, not killed.
Interesting.
But they're paralyzed for like an hour, so it may as well be death.
Yeah.
It's not like a flat death. It's you are fundamentally useless for like the next hour.
Mm. So kind of like a fair version of carrion crawlers.
Yeah, but for level 1.
Huh. Yeah, but yeah, I
I
think.
can see. I do like the
Mm.
thought of minions. That's a really solid
Yeah,
idea
because
because
at low levels
yeah,
it means you can have ads in a fight if it makes sense to have them without making the encounter too difficult. And at higher levels, it means you can have like, okay, this guy's got like 300 troops, and you can just like mow them down like Dynasty Warriors style.
cinematic.
Yeah, without bogging
Or
down combat
yeah,
so much.
you can also have a villain look more villainous with minions as well.
Yeah,
Have them accidentally hit some of their own minions. They do it on
yeah.
purpose.
Because that means because a 1 HP minion is going to be extremely expendable. Just like, yeah, I'll just cast, I don't know, was it lightning bolt through my forces? Why not?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really, if you want to have like a villain that just doesn't care about people under him, why would you just do that?
Yeah.
Um, or if you wanted to base it off like the old Warhammer Dark Elves, you could have some of the boss abilities be dependent on maybe sacrificing a few expendable minions just to make
Mm.
an ability work.
Yeah.
That actually tie into the mechanics.
Hmm.
Um,
So,
any closing thoughts?
yes, closing thoughts. So, there won't be a podcast next week because I'm basically busy the entire day, car showing and things like that. So we will be not doing a
Fair enough.
podcast this coming week. But I will let you know how the car show went in our
Okay.
initial waffles on a couple weeks from now. It would be the 21st. Yes.
Wait, second, won't it?
No, 21st. I'm looking at my calendar. 21st of July. It's the next Sunday.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I'm
Oh,
looking
right.
forward to seeing more of Bloomberg as well. I will probably want to talk about that on the next settings thing. Again, it will be like that will be on probably the 28th at this point. But I'm looking forward to seeing stuff from Bloomberg because we haven't had much about the world of Bloomberg yet, and I'm really upset. I want to know where the birds come into play.
Okay.
Right, and on that goose shell, goose shell.
That's Adam. The closing thoughts. I'm going to drop this in the chat because it's great.
Uh huh.
I've been toying with Suno AI again.
Hmm.
Do you think you mentioned messing around with Bring Me to Life a bit more?
Yeah.
And I've generated it as children's music.
Hmm.
And it sounds as though they both sound as though from a Disney film.
Uh huh.
So I've Disneyfied Nightwish. I'll be popping that into the chat. Or that's the thing as well. If everyone wants to use this Suno, we're now going to get some wacky generations. But plonk him in the chat.
Mm.
Always for a good laugh.
Suggestions and ideas and your own home brews, etc., are always very much appreciated. The stupider and weirder, the
Oh,
better.
of course.
Right. Again, thank you guys for tuning in,
Until
and we'll see you guys soon.
next fortnight. Around.
Yes. Right. Thank you guys. Bye bye for now. Right, we're gonna raid out.
Night.
Bye. There's your raid mess. There's your raid. There's your raid message. Go and get the emote with channel points, and see you in the next one. Honk honk and bye bye.
See you next week, everyone.